A lot of ACC conference games during your time here. I know a lot of that's won a lot of games in general. But is there anything unique with going on the road that you try to stress to your team, and one of the reasons you've had success?
You know, I don't know if it's unique because I don't know what the other coaches say, but I just always believed that you can win anywhere. I've never believed that playing on the road was that big a negative deal. You know, and it goes back to when I played 100 years ago and just felt like we could win in any place, and I got a big thrill out of winning at another place, even more so than I did at home. A little bit of the Hoosiers, you know, measuring the goal, free throw lines 15 feet, the goal's 10 feet, you know, a little bit of that. And then the other thing I think is that the value of road wins are, you know, pretty heavy. And so I like trying to make sure that we feel like we can do it. And I've had some teams that really, their concentration level was even higher, you know, on the road than it was at home. And I think that that's been good, but who knows? I mean, you know, also like to think we can win at home. Saturday we got our tails kicked badly. So it's, you know, if sometimes it works, you sort of feel like, oh, well, I'm doing the right thing. But whatever I did before last Saturday's game didn't work, so I got to rethink that one too.
Coach, it seems like the Miamis and the Florida States and teams like that have become better at playing at home. Have you seen that happen, and maybe why might that be?
You know, I really don't know, and I hate to just give you that kind of answer, but I don't get into what they're doing as much as how it relates to us. You know, if they play zone, we work on zone offense. If they play man, we work on man offense. But once past that, you know, I got 16 dressed out 18 to 22-year-olds. You know, come on. If I try to get in another 15, 18 to 22-year-olds' minds, I'm going wacko already. So, and they think I'm wacko to begin with. But I really don't talk too much about what they do at home, what they do on the road. I just try to focus on what I think might help our bunch. It's the easiest press conference.
What's the best way to get a team's attention? It was last Saturday.
That's not the best way. That's the worst way as far as I can get your butt beat. You know, I think you can get their attention if you play poorly and win on a 65-footer. I think that's the greatest thing in the world because you can talk about how lucky you are. But the way we got their attention last weekend would not have been my choice. Some people think, you know, but it takes a loss to really wake them up, and I've never believed that. I've walked off many a golf course and said, well, I won money and my score was pretty good, but God, I didn't hit it worth a darn. I better hit it better tomorrow. That's the way I think. And Coach Smith always said he could handle it if we played well. I'm not that guy. I want to win, you know, and so I still think the more you win kind of idea.
What have you seen out of Miami and their team so far this season?
You know, Jimmy's had some really good clubs. They lost a couple of guys to injury, lost one guy to the NCAA, maybe lost one guy to, I know they lost one to the NBA, but maybe somebody else left or something. But his numbers are down. He's playing 6 or 7 guys a game. Once you get past that, I go straight to likes. And he's really, he's a very effective basketball player, regardless of what size he is. He gives you so many problems. They set a ton of ball screens, and he's involved in all of them. He rejects them, he splits them, he beats you. You know, so that's the first thing. But then, you know, the big guy, I really like him. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in college basketball. They're a team that doesn't hurt themselves. They're a little bit like Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's one in the country and putting people on the foul line. I think Miami's in the top 5 or 10 there. So they don't hurt themselves dramatically by fouling. You know, it's the kind of thing that it's the ACC. I never look down on anybody, try never to look too much up to anybody, and tell our guys, we got to play. We're not going to walk in there. I've had some teams that I felt like the margin could be we could lose by 2 or 3 or we can win by 20. I don't feel that way with this team yet. I'm hoping that I get there. But we got to go play and got to try to play our best.
Let me interject a question from Jonathan, who's traveling to Miami. You're talking about likes and screening. What makes him so difficult to guard?
Quickness, quickness with the ball, ability with the ball. You back off of him, he shoots it in, you get up on him, he goes by you. He's small, so he gets through the cracks. When you split the ball screen and there's not enough room there, it's harder for, you can tell him I said this, it'd be harder for Sean May to get through that than it would be Chris Likes.
Have you ever coached anybody of Chris Lake's size? And the way the game is played today, is it just kind of more conducive to having?
Well, I was on the staff here when Muggsy Bogues, and I thought he was one of the greatest players I'd ever seen. And staff here when Spud Webb played, and we've had some little guys that were really hard to handle. But it all starts with Muggsy, as far as I'm concerned. I thought he's the best player of that size that I'd ever seen. And guys were afraid of him. We had all high school All-Americans. You'd watch them, and they're looking around behind there, turning their head behind, wondering where he is instead of playing the game. But probably have to go back that far to get somebody at this level. But there have been some really good smaller guys. That quickness is hard to handle, and if they can shoot, then you can't get up on them. I mean, you have to get up on them, and so now they drive by you, back off. And so if they're that size and a complete player, Muggsy wasn't a great shooter, but he was just so dominating on both ends of the floor because he was dominating defensively too.
Coach, do you have an update on Sterling Manley's status?
Yeah, he will not be playing. Guys, we're waiting to get to a point where it feels better. It's not, I shouldn't say this, it's not rocket science, it's medical science, I guess, but we got to wait until it starts feeling better. He has not practiced yet, and I'm just waiting until they say he can practice.
And do you have concerns over the lack of interior scoring with you all? Do you feel like combination of Nasir and some other guys contribute?
No, I have a tremendous amount of concern about it. I did all season last year too, and we're not shooting a very good percentage. Even Luke's shooting percentages are down. Last year, I thought that was the biggest hole we had was scoring around the basket and defending around the basket. We're probably, Joel could drive it to the hole a little bit. Theo could drive it to the hole and draw people to him and get some easy shots. But maybe we got more easy shots penetrating the ball to the basket last year than we have this year. I haven't looked at it like that. But no, it's a big concern of ours. And, we need not just Luke, we need everybody's shooting percentages to be better. But we've got to score and hopefully get the other team in foul trouble around the basket. And we haven't done that very often this year.
Coach, how big of a learning curve is it for a freshman point guard in the ACC?
Well, it's hard, but I mean, great players tend to make it look easy. I mean, Trey Jones, I didn't realize it till he went down the other night, and I was reading some of the stuff, 88-17 or something like that. His assist-to-error ratio is just off the charts. I think Kobe's a different kind of player, and I mean, I'm looking at Kobe, and he's shooting 43% from the floor, from 36 from the three-point line, 80% from the free throw line, averaging 14 points a game. That's pretty good for a freshman, and pretty good for some seniors. So I think it can be done, but at different schools, the loads you put on them is different than it is from school A to school B. But there are a lot of good players that are freshmen that come in, and they're more worldly now. They've traveled everywhere. They've played against the best competition, and their dreams and goals are a lot higher than they used to be.
Are you finding that he's doing a pretty good job with tempo? It seems like you guys are probably playing more possessions than you have in the past.
Yeah, I like the tempo. I wish we'd make, not only him, I wish we would all make better decisions with the ball because we're turning it over more. But I think that Kobe does push the tempo really well, and it's sometimes better than others. But we just got to do, attack, under control. And that's the way I've always believed you should be able to do. And I think with more experience, his assist-to-error ratio will just get better and better. But he does push the pace really well.
Looking at the stats dating back to Christmas break, we'll leave Louisville aside, but the field goal percentage, defense numbers have trended kind of in the right direction. Mm-hmm. Are they making strides defensively? In some games we really have. I thought against Notre Dame the second half, I thought we were good defensively. I don't know if Mike felt like we were any good, but I felt like we were good. Maybe my definition of good is not as difficult a grader as I used to be, but
I think we've had some games, yeah, that we're getting better. It's still the same three things, stay in front of the ball and finish the defense by getting the box out and covering the three-point shot. But, yeah, I think we're getting better at it.
Coach, I believe you were down in Charlotte last night to watch some of your guys play. What's it like to go watch your former players in the NBA?
That's fun for me. It's something I enjoy doing. Try to do it as much as I can without sacrificing some time for preparation for this team. We had yesterday off, so it was an easier thing for me to do. It was a crazy game. Sacramento's out 13-2, and they lose by 17. So again, I never get too upset with the first 2 minutes of a game. Marvin played probably a little better than Justin did. Justin didn't get quite as many minutes as he probably would like, but it's. I enjoy going to see them. I enjoy seeing Marvin and Justin in the same game playing against each other. Only problem is there were about 10 other guys in the game that I recruited I didn't get either, so I get to see all those guys too.
Do you think Nasir can really build off his 11-point performance on Tuesday? Is that something he can kind of look to?
I have no idea. I would hope so. I mean, if I play golf well one day, I think I'm gonna play better the next day. If I stink it up, I'm dumb enough to think I'm gonna play better the next day anyway. But he there's a different kind of game, different kind of personnel. He took the ball to the basket really, really well, and I think that's what I'd like for him to do more so than rely on the outside shot. And I think he gained the benefit of it doing it during the Notre Dame game.
To use your words, are you still seeing?
You probably use them better than I will, so go ahead.
Are you still seeing turnovers in your sleep?
I don't see them in my sleep because of stupid turnovers. I don't sleep, so I close my eyes if you want to. I can see them with my eyes closed, but not while I sleep. It's not just one thing. The turnovers bother me probably more than anything else, but competing your butt off is really the biggest thing too. We've got to consistently play with more intensity on a consistent basis over longer stretches of time. I'd say that's the one thing more than anything else, but it's 1A, 1B, 1C. So you just would like to do better. We'd like to have defensive field goal percentage would be better. I'd like our rebound margin's pretty good. I'd like it to be better. Take away all our stupid turnovers, see if we can force a few more turnovers, and then all of a sudden I'd feel like I'm a better coach. Anybody else?
All right, thank you.
Guys,